It's just all spiraling downhill at this point.
Yeah.
You pointing this out in the video is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like what you just said is a little quirk of yours.
It is. And now you'll never be able to unsee it.
There's the context.
You're going to catch it.
There's the context.
It will happen again.
Hello and welcome to the... I was about to introduce it as the podcast. No, this is Reflections. So hello, welcome to another episode of Reflections, where Heather and I
reflect.
This episode in particular is about the first time we stayed overnight in Bastrop State Park. If you're just joining in, you can watch this one first and then go watch the Bastrop video. It doesn't matter. But welcome, regardless. This is the beginning. So we're here at Bastrop. How you say it?
Bastrop.
Bass drop, not to be confused with the bass drop. So in the past, the way I would include Heather was asking her like very simple questions. I didn't exactly know how to say Bastrop, but I'm like, oh, Heather can say something about this, and you're just like, Bastrop? And it wasn't really a conversation starter. Yeah. Also, I knew a lot less about audio than I do now. And so there's a lot of wind noise. So please forgive. I've forgiven my past self. So if everybody could please forgive the previous methods of capturing audio, that'd be great. Thanks. Where on there did it say eat salty pistachios? I think I was saying that pistachios like dry you out, but then I've learned over time that salty snacks are actually good for you when you're hiking and stuff, because it's like a salt, electrolytes, all that. What's fun is that we saw the heat advisory thing the first time we came in.
Yeah.
And then we went back there, and it
just as hot.
Yeah, it gets hot in Bastrop State Park.
Most areas I feel like have a lot of big tall pine trees that make it shady. But there's some areas where the pine trees have experienced fire, and so there's like new growth, but not very tall. And so in those areas in particular, there's not much shade. And if I remember correctly, yeah, the tent camping areas were not very well shaded at the time.
And we were tent camping.
Yes. Montiers. Right? I'm not crazy. Oh yeah, because we went to Bastrop for the first time like ever, like the first time we went to a state park really like for this. Mm-hmm. Our name tag, our little like name badge was just like there ready for you to put on the card. So I was like looking for it, like why isn't it here? But this was our first time camping, which they don't do this anymore. It was just like for COVID. Just additional confusion. As we were getting used to camping, it was like the way they do things isn't normal. And it's different. I mean, even now, it's different at every state park that you visit. Like one might do it this way, another does it this way. So you just kind of have to be ready to adjust. Helps build character, I guess. Mm-hmm. Please bring your vehicle and trailer at 9 a.m. Yeah, so that sheet was dated on there, which is fun. Yeah. At the very top. Oh, yeah. But then I was like, panicked, because I was like, why do we have to go check in? Yeah. Because I don't remember having to do that at Inks Lake. No. And we were just there for a night, and we were just there for a night here, too. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we just need to, like, check in tomorrow. That was me making sure I wasn't wrong. As soon as we arrive, Heather just makes sure that this is all correct. You know, you don't know what you're doing camping, and then I still double check everything and make sure I'm in the right spot. Because I have one I like booked the wrong night somewhere, and we like got there, and somebody was like in our spot, but then turns out I had booked the wrong night. Shenandoah National Park. Yeah. So it happens sometimes, but with Heather it happens less. Yeah. Once.
I'll start hauling stuff.
Well, let's think about this.
What?
I know usually it makes sense to set up the tent first. But
We do it later.
it's like literally just going to be cooking. So maybe it would be a good idea to set it up when the sun's starting to go down.
Okay.
What do you think? Do you think that makes sense or no?
Uh-huh. Once it gets below them trees.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
That's logical.
So tense. We're literally like, oh, is it okay with you? Oh, is that what we should do? Yeah, you know what you're doing.
Can someone please take control? Yeah, because when we got to Inks Lake, we like set up the tent right away. And then, yeah, it just like sits there and cooks. So I was like, we don't really need to be in any hurry to set up this tent because it's hot.
Where's this lake at? So the mission that Heather gave us is to walk to the lake, unlike that guy. So we're not allowed to park anywhere.
That's funny to me because Bastrop is we visited there the most out of any state parks, and I know that there's not a lake.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
That gets revealed later.
Yeah, but I guess I do remember that because on like the map it shows like a body of water, but sometimes maps aren't super accurate if that body of water has dried up. You know? Plus, like, yeah, I had looked and there is like a Lake Bastrop, but it is not a part of the state park.
It's just a few minutes away. But yeah, not in the state park, but that's where that confusion came from.
There is like a little creek that you can like fish at if there's water in it near the front entrance.
Fish
I know
for
that
frogs,
now.
maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, they do fill that up. Yeah, it has like a little pier as you drive in. Yeah. We're not allowed to park, so we're gonna obey all the rules. I give some looks throughout this. Like that was one of them. Did you think about that?
Oh.
Miss Rule Follower.
That's me.
And that's how we balance each other out. Because most of the time, I'm like, let's try this thing. And Heather's like, you haven't put one single thought, one neuron of
No
thought.
thoughts, just vibes.
And so you're like, there is a way to do it, but there are rules attached to the thing.
I don't want to jeopardize like us being able to go there and do that. And so I'm like, I'm going to follow the rules so we don't get kicked out of somewhere or, you know, or have a conflict or get in trouble somewhere. I don't like to get in trouble.
And so since the beginning, when Heather's had that initiative, there have been 0 conflicts and 0 bans from parks and 0. So she has a perfect record.
Yeah.
So
We've only been kicked out of a park once, but it was because of weather, not because of us.
Because of the snow. Yeah. We talk about the lake in the footage, and then we don't mention it again. And then we just start going somewhere else in the footage.
Oh.
But we don't like sit down and say, so there isn't a lake here, actually. That thing we were looking for, it's not here. Like, we don't say that because I was like, we're not going to use any of this.
Yeah.
Like, there's no...
We weren't narrating.
There's no story here. Anything down here?
Chupacabra. Goodness.
Chupacabra?
Yeah.
The Chupacabra joke was us transitioning from the road to like a more trail like setting. Because I didn't want to hit you with there's not a lake in Bastrop and then go from the sirens.
Oh, like
we died or
and
something?
we died in the heat. Yeah, because it was like showing me literally stopping and just like taking a break in the one little shade on the road.
There's a lot of thought that gets put into these, and maybe too much thought, but those are the thoughts.
Oh.
So I have a lot of these shots that I just set the tripod down and it recorded for like 10 or 15 minutes. I try to like make it useful
into something.
And so this time I was like, oh, I do enter from different sides. You know, it is interesting to look at. It's just a new way of doing it.
Doing like a time lapse type thing.
It is everything at once, yeah. So I had 3 of these shots that I needed to edit around, though.
Is that like I would think that's like a complicated thing to accomplish.
Yeah. Thankfully, the lighting doesn't change in those few minutes. It's funny because I put the cooler right in the sun. I was like, oh, I need to be in the middle of the camera, probably. Like,
yeah, that was probably your thinking.
Like, what? I'm standing here.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the shot.
That's funny.
Yeah, and then I have one where I walk behind myself, dropping off the tent in the background, and then I walked in front of the camera too. So thought that was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it. I mean, it was like a cool, different way of doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So thanks. Yeah. It's, part of it. Oh, and the we were starting to open things that we had just bought, like cooking supplies at that part.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how because I'm covering the shot, but you had cut yourself.
I think it was a knife because I was using.
Would make
I
more
was
sense.
using a knife, like just like a kitchen knife, to open stuff.
Oh, to cut open more. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so then you had sliced.
Stop.
This is it right here.
What?
The beginning of the end. Your infection will set in overnight. That's the culprit. We need to call the ambulances that have been going by.
Ow. And then I get stung by an ant. I didn't mean to say yes out loud.
Yes.
How fun. What an experience. You know?
Yeah. It's just all spiraling downhill at this point.
Yeah. I just cut myself ants.
Yeah. And I think I tried to blow it out of proportion because I'm like, is this a big deal? Like,
I know. I'm like, I feel like I'm staying pretty calm about it.
Yeah. Are we done camping forever now? Because you sliced your finger open.
No.
And then you get stung by an ant. So it's like, well, yeah. If that wasn't a sign by the universe, the ant definitely is. And it's time to leave. But you stuck around. I think that's why I made that. I said, this is it, the beginning of the end. Like, that was kind of.
So that I didn't actually start thinking that.
I don't know.
Like you like called it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you said, how fun.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and like we wrap it around the side. So I don't know, we had the same idea at the same time, but I was like, yeah, wrap it around. And then you were like, yeah, that's what I was going to do. And then, so that's the second time I looked at the camera.
We both don't really like to be like told what to do, especially if I'm about to do it. So I think that's why I like snapped back because I'm like, that's literally what I'm doing. It was my idea.
Yeah. Sometimes it stops you in your tracks. You're like, I've lost all this motivation that I once had is now gone because you suggested
what I was about to do.
Yeah.
It's funny that you can still hear the lighter clicking.
Oh yeah, because I was filming me trying, and I was like, oh, this is gonna light up like the previous charcoal did at Bastrop that it cooked our eggs.
Yeah.
But this is a different type of charcoal that we got, and I didn't know that. So then I faced the camera away at the chair and just kept trying to click because I was like, ugh.
Oh, so that's the same, like that's audio.
Yeah.
From that actual shot.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Like the clicking was
It still was going.
Yeah. I don't think we need to talk.
By the way, this is a tent pad. Because you made fun of me at Inks Lake because I was like, where's the tent pad? And you were like, a tent pad. And this is what I meant by a tent pad.
Yeah.
Because a lot of places do have this.
You know, this whole thing in Perspectives episode 2, Heather mentions a tent pad, and I'm like, oh, is that a normal thing that they have? And you're like, yeah, in the photos I see these things called tent pads.
But I was also unsure of myself because I hadn't really like gone camping, so I was like, I think it's a thing. Like, don't.
But then I just like kept messing with you, and it was funny. Yeah, I don't mess with you as much anymore because I'm like, man, it's way better.
It's probably less fun to mess with me now because I don't take it very like personally.
Well, that's why people
like I just ignore it.
That's why you mess with somebody is to get
Exactly.
a reaction out of them, I guess. Anytime you felt uncertain, I was just projecting. I was like, see, look, you're uncertain. because I didn't know what I was doing. But that's why I was noticing your uncertainty is because I like was constantly feeling it in myself. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, we don't need a tent pad, or we don't need a tarp, is what I said there.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh,
Well, we didn't need it the first time.
We have a tent pad though.
Oh, yeah. Think I can cook something on it?
Sure.
Are you sure?
Yeah. That confidence is just unwavering though, because I'm like, yes,
Sure.
sure. And then you're like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes. Like, what else am I? Like, it's either gonna work or it isn't.
Yeah.
And I want it to work. So yeah.
Definitely holding up a lot better than the one last week was.
I don't know why, but I included cooler backstory in this one, and what you're referencing is the cooler. That definitely
It
worked.
was work. Yeah, it held up a lot better
Yeah.
than the previous one.
And we're about to see the old cooler.
Oh, flashback.
When I said we needed to just go, but all we had was a tent and sleeping bags.
We had a cooler too.
We did have a cooler. That was a
Although I think
Our
we're gonna
edge.
need another one.
yeah. It drains.
Yeah. Can't have it in my car.
So I just had that shot. We didn't talk about the cooler anywhere else in the Inks Lake adventure except for right there. And so I like used the time lapse of us leaving to. There's the cooler like in footage and stuff. I was
Yeah.
like, this is like the best shot to use
Yeah.
for showing the cooler.
I think it was like my parents' old cooler
Yeah.
that they'd like given us, and so when we like decided to start camping, like we were like, you know, there were some things that we were like, oh, we're gonna have to get these things, but we were like, well, we have a cooler, we have a tent that we were borrowing from your parents, and so turns out the cooler that we had wasn't ideal.
It didn't have a drain plug, so whenever your ice melted, it would just drain out in your car.
Yes.
And so we discovered that when we first
Oh,
met.
like the cap was gone.
Yeah, so when it fills up
Yes.
with the melted ice water,
Yes.
you
It's just gonna
Yeah.
leak out. Yeah.
yeah, it was leaking all the time. And so
And it was like, I don't think it held, like the ice melted very fast
Yeah, it
in
was-
it. It wasn't like a well insulated cooler.
yeah, it was old. So
Yeah. That's not the one we got. That wasn't the one we got.
yeah, it was the one with the blue.
But I think I was like looking up reviews as we were like shopping to see like what made the most sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't
Because
need,
we weren't like, we
huge-
didn't have Yeti money. And so we were like, we'll go with Igloo.
It's the same, yeah. Essentially. You happy with our purchase?
Yeah.
Thanks. It's my little nose quirk.
Yeah.
Well, and like it was COVID, so we like wore masks everywhere, which
Oh.
exasperated.
Irritation.
Basically, one of my biggest fears in life is like having a booger, and so I have this like nose quirk, and it's like the same little pattern, but it's
Yeah.
like making sure I don't have a booger. But I'm like so glad you got that.
You pointing this out in a video is a nightmare. I'm sure it would have been a nightmare for you at some point, I think.
Yeah,
Like what you just said is a little quirk of yours.
it is, and now you'll never be able to unsee it.
There's the context.
You're gonna catch it.
There's the context.
It
for-
will happen again.
Only a very small puddle. Instead of a big old river already.
Trying to make this grilled cheese for the past 4 hours. Just kidding. It's been like how long? That's how long.
Yeah. Oh man, I was hangry. Yeah, because it would take so long to cook things on the charcoal. I don't know for sure, but I think maybe by the next camping trip we had like a different solution for that, because I was like, this sucks. Like it took so long for anything to cook on it. Like we're just making grilled cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I do think that the foil, putting the foil over the thing, like did something.
So don't cook with tin foil under your pan, we learned. See, this looks much better.
Do you remember why? I think it has something to do with like convection.
Heat exchange.
Yeah.
Tinfoil is cool when you touch it.
Yes.
Because
because in inks, like I literally was using it as like an oven mitt.
Yeah. And so how would
me.
that get through to your pan if you're blocking the heat?
Yeah.
It doesn't transfer heat
You're
through
right.
itself. Like that's why you're able.
Point of it.
Yeah.
Whoops.
And so we kept the heat from.
Why did we put it down? I just didn't want my pot to be on the icky grates.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, maybe we were gonna make. Yeah, because
I don't know.
I think I brought like something. If we like stayed for lunch the next day, and then something for like that night. But then we wound up making grilled cheese because it was like fast. We thought it would be faster, rather than like.
And we didn't take the foil off.
Weenies. But yeah, maybe we were just gonna cook the weenies on the foil.
I think we just didn't know what we were doing.
That too. That too.
Amateur day. Amateur day. Week. Are we calling this week 2 or week 3?
I would say week 2.
Yeah, this is week 2 of official camping. So because I was wondering if we were counting Bastrop as
Yeah, like
official,
the day.
yeah.
The days.
So Perspectives Reflections episode 1 is just our first like entryway, but actually staying in the park is a whole nother
Ball game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A whole new set of rules that you have to eat. Imagine having to like hunt something down and kill it, and it's this late.
So far, I'm not trying to cook.
Well, we usually eat before 7.
This is so late.
So it did feel late because I was like, I'm hungry.
Imagine being a caveman back in the day and not having a grilled cheese at your disposal. 7:19 p.m. Like,
yeah,
we don't have to skin our own food anymore.
that's true, man.
And it's this late.
I cook anything that like would hurt us if it didn't quite get cooked all the way. I mean, we've eaten eggs, but like eggs.
You're saying the reason we didn't just go hunt and kill an animal is because I just want to make sure things are cooked all the way. So that's why we're making grilled cheese.
Yeah, like at this point, yeah, like I'm like, this is our second time camping, so I'm not gonna bring like chicken or burgers because you can like undercook it and then be sick. So like I think our first camping trip I did like hot dogs because you can eat a raw hot dog and it's fine, you know. And then this time it's like grilled cheese because it's like you're not gonna have like food poisoning because it didn't get cooked all the way on the charcoal. Because yeah, I wasn't like super confident in our cooking abilities at that point.
I wouldn't be fine if I ate a raw hot dog.
Oh.
It would be gross.
Well, yeah, it's not appetizing, but you're not gonna like have bubble guts after.
I don't know. So
Pretty obvious if they're not cooked all the way. And eggs are special too, because you can like cook them most of the way and they're still okay. Because when you have like over easy eggs and stuff, it's like having a medium rare steak.
My tangent about eggs.
it's like having a medium rare steak. So we're basically killing something and cooking it like a steak. I just go on these wide questions and then you just narrow it down, is what I'm saying. Like, imagine having to go hunt something and kill it. Mm-hmm. And you're like...
I bring it back to, like, logic.
We would have to cook the meat.
Yeah.
That's why we don't hunt something.
Why don't you just grab the handle and flip it?
Well, you're more than welcome to do that if you would like.
A little sass. Oh, yeah, we could go wash our dishes.
All set.
Yes. Ready for tomorrow.
We walked all the way over there.
That's not far.
I think the point of this is showing how simple it is.
Convenient, yeah.
There are certain aspects that you got to worry about, but really you got a bathroom right there, dishwashing, you know, you got a campfire spot.
Yeah, a tent pad.
You know, the grilled cheese is the most basic thing to make. Like,
yeah, like we did try to keep it within our range of abilities, which was not much at the time.
Yeah. Get into it with knowing what you know how to do, and then, build from there.
What would you rate their restrooms?
A+. They're like clean. They even like smell clean, which is not an easy thing to accomplish at a state park. It's like, you know those like bougie rest stops? And then like the bathroom is very like nice and well kept, as opposed to like the scary, sketchy ones. That's what it's like.
Okay, go ahead.
You try. You asked me about some things, and I'm like, yes, no. You asked me about the bathrooms at Bastrop, and I just go on and on.
A colorful description.
Yeah.
Astute observations.
They are very nice. Like, I was, especially after having, like, been to some other places, like, Bastrop's bathrooms are the best. Oh, I think you had, like, told me to be ready to, like, pull back a little bit. So then I was like, wait, what? Like, what's going to happen?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, no, it's just steam. Don't stand directly over it. Cause
Yeah.
That's the responsible thing to do.
Makes it look like I slept outside on a bench.
That shot was just the only shot I have, but we went up to the overlook spot.
Like in the night?
When the sun went down, and we just went back up there.
Go watch the stars, probably.
But it was the same bench you could see in the
At the sun
that you were
sunset.
sitting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was interesting.
Oh, and it's Sunday. We can't even get Chick-fil-A breakfast.
Yeah, so we couldn't start a fire this morning because everything was a little wet. A little wet from all the water we poured on it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That's why.
Oh, I remember, yeah. I was like sitting at the campground, but the bags of charcoal were like out, and then a park ranger drove by and was like, you can't use charcoal here. And so I didn't realize that charcoal was not allowed at Bastrop, because I knew there was a burn ban, but I was like, well, there was a burn ban in Eags Lake and you could use charcoal. But that was not the case for Bastrop. So when we had made the grilled cheese the night before, no one came by and like told us that, and I didn't realize that. So then the next morning it was like, oh, we can't eat our breakfast.
We were naive. Just something to think about. So now we're just gonna go eat somewhere.
And get coffee. Very important.
It's very important that we get coffee.
Yeah, that's what I was most worried about.
Had to go eat at Maxine's Cafe because we can't cook anything.
I was not disappointed.
Yeah, like it turned out to be just fine because we got to go eat at this cute little like cafe in downtown Bastrop, 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and have a little French toast breakfast and coffee, and so like that was a nice, pleasant experience in the morning, even though it wasn't our plan.
Yeah.
It worked out just fine.
The eggs you were mashing in the beginning don't show up, so I think we were planning to have the eggs.
Yes.
For breakfast, and then didn't happen. So it didn't happen if it's not in the video. So
right. That part of history is lost. Oh, yeah.
Yep, I got a shot of it.
Yeah, the smiley face tower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's there.
A lot of the trails are like this. So make sure you wear good hiking shoes.
Are those good hiking?
Are you proud of that comedic timing?
You got to experience it, but I think that's the best way to learn is through trial and error.
Yeah.
And that's what these videos are rife with.
Yes.
Full of.
Yeah, it's even funny, like, me talking about the hiking. This is, like, my third time hiking, maybe. So I'm like, the hiking trails here are pretty good. But now I'm like, hiking in Bastrop is, like, okay. Some of the trails are more, like, elevated, so they can be more challenging. But it's funny, because I'm like, I don't really know what to say.
But it's important to know that this was coming from the previous perspectives. You're trying not to be embarrassed about doing this. You asked to say something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I was like, oh, I have something to say.
Mm-hmm. What do you think will happen when we get there?
I think there's gonna be a little trickle in a water fountain, like a bird bath that you would have in your backyard.
Heather says bird bath. I say mystical wonder.
Like, I was preparing to be, like, underwhelmed buy it, but still it'll be fun to say that we found it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, mystical wonder.
With my hat turned up.
But you're like the dreamer, and then I'm like the
Yeah.
logical one.
But
I'm like, it'll probably be like this.
I'm like, back then, mystical wonder, what does that even mean? And now I'm like, oh yeah, it's a mystical wonder.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Uh-oh. I hope that's not it.
I take it back. It might be more like bird diarrhea than bird bath. I don't want everybody to know how stinky my attitude gets.
Yeah, it was really hot, and we'd been hiking for a while,
And we weren't finding a fountain.
and we were not finding the fountain, so I was starting to get
Yeah.
a little attitude.
Just stagnant water we were dealing with so far.
Yeah.
So stop filming me.
As we've been looking for the Fountain of Youth, we've become a little discouraged. It's not actually the Fountain of Youth, it just says historic fountains. And then we did both think that eternal youth was in this park somewhere. But now it's not. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Why?
Experiencing these experiences in a different way, but a piece of us will always like remain there because that's something that we did. I didn't know what I was talking about back then, but now the message for me is eternal youth is here, Ethan.
Yeah.
But I'm like experiencing something,
Yeah.
so it's cool.
Yeah.
How are you? Where's my head?
Maybe like the top part's not all in it.
Yeah.
You're just really tall. So would you say it's a lot of work?
That's me
carrying around all
trying,
these?
like, and that still happens, like, where you're like, can you do this thing? And I'm like, yes, but I don't really know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. And I couldn't see the screen, but I was like, this is way too low.
Yeah.
Carrying around all these cameras?
Yeah, it's a lot more work than I thought it would be.
How do you feel about your decision?
Fine.
Not giving up yet?
No.
So fun.
Not giving up yet. No, I know it's week 2. See, it's crazy easy to say that during week 2 with that amount of confidence. Now I'm very glad that that maintained till now.
I could ask you that now.
No.
And you'd say, no.
We haven't even killed each other yet. And it's camping trip number 2.
Yeah, I don't know who would sign up for out of their free time, try to go to every state park and make a video about it for absolutely no reason. But that's what I'm doing.
We found the water.
At the time, there was no reason to be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But you create the reason
As you do it.
as you do it. Like, oh, it must be important to you since you're doing this so much.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, I don't exactly understand why I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see.
We found the water fountain.
The Fountain of Youth. Oh, wow. This is it.
It's historic, though.
Yeah.
It's a piece of history, which is cool. Do you feel younger?
I feel much, much older after finding this. And wiser. Yeah, I don't know who would try to go to every state park and make a video about it for absolutely no reason.
It's historic, though.
But that's what I'm doing.
And that was sneaky. Because the video is kind of like fun and campy, and then you hit us with that ending.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I repeat the same line. Like,
Yeah.
who would do this? That's what I'm doing. Looking back at it now, it's like it's never been more clear. But you don't know it at the time of starting something and doing it.
Yeah.
Like, why on earth would you hatch an idea that comes from no backed evidence? It's never worked before because you haven't ever done it.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you invest time into it? It makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
But then now it's like, this makes perfect sense. Like, this is the reason. And we have plenty more to go through.
Yeah.
But I think it's really cool.
Yeah, when we like kind of started the idea and you were like, we're going to visit all the state parks for no reason. But then we were kind of like, well, the reason could be like teach about each state park and like maybe we'll team up with Texas Parks and Wildlife. Like, we don't know. But then you, like, have the sequence of it, like, showing us. Yeah, it wound up being about, like, our journey and not just, like, what to do at the state park, you know? You're, like, showing the fountain, and then I'm, like, trying to step out of the way. But then you, like, hold the shot on me as I'm, like, stepping out of the way. Maybe that's you being like, wait, no, this is about, like, you and us.
Yeah. But what I was saying at the time was, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But then the shots and the footage.
You did know.
That tells the story. Because it's like, well, what are you constantly coming back to? It was like a natural yet unconscious thing, I think, that kept happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I had talked about in the previous reflections about the tree in Inks Lake that you were sitting in. Like, I just drifted over into it. There is something to it, and I'm finding a pattern very quickly.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that more later.
Like you like me or something.
Yes, I like us. I like our relationship. I like supporting it. I like that you are also an individual too. Like, you're not just in it to be in it. You have your own thing that you're carrying, your own reason behind this too.
Yeah.
And that's like what I'm searching for, is like, if I can capture this, that's really cool. You know, if I can tell that story, but it comes at a cost, which means you have to really pay attention to everything. Anyways, that is the end of this episode of Reflections.
The next episode will be our first time camping with the dogs.
So stick around for that. We were sad without them. They were getting sad without us.
Yeah.
You know, we had to take care of ourselves first before we could take care of them.
Yeah. And maybe, like, less heat advisories.
It was getting cooler too. So anyways, thanks for watching. Go there, do that. We will see you next time.